Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Beside a great forest was a meadow. In the meadow was a cozy cottage. And in the cottage lived Daddy Bear Bjorn, Mummy Bear Alara, and little baby bear Lumi. The bears each had their very own chair, bed, and bowl for eating their favorite thing, hot porridge. One morning, as Bjorn poured the steaming breakfast, little baby bear Lumi looked out of the window and cried, "Mummy, Daddy, look!" The meadow was filled with hundreds of fluttering butterflies. Chasing butterflies was Lumi's favorite thing. "Please, please, please, can we go out before breakfast?" she begged. Bjorn poured the porridge to cool. Then, with a clunk, the front door shut, and the three bears strolled out into the sunny meadow, leaving the cottage empty. Close by lived a woodman and his beautiful but very curious daughter, Goldilocks. She was running an errand when she saw the empty cottage. "I wonder who lives here," she thought. Goldilocks walked up the path, knocked, and peeped inside. She saw the bowls of delicious porridge. "I must stop it going to waste," so she opened the front door and went in. She tried Bjorn's big bowl. "You, much too salty." She tried Alara's medium bowl. "You, much too bland." Finally, she tried Lumi's little bowl. "Ah, yes, just right." Crack! The little chair snapped under her weight. The little bowl flew high and landed splat on the wall. "Oops," said a tired Goldilocks. She went upstairs to find a quiet place to nap. Upstairs she tried Bjorn's big bed, too hard, and Alara's medium bed, too soft. Then she saw Lumi's little bed. Ah, yes, just right. She pulled the covers up and fell fast asleep. Around 20 minutes later, the bears returned. "Who has been eating my porridge?" roared Bjorn. Lumi cried, "My chair is broken, my bowl is empty, and there is porridge on the wall." The three incensed bears crept upstairs. "Who has been lying in my bed?" roared Alara. Then Lumi whispered, "Daddy, there's a little girl in my bed." Goldilocks awoke with a start to the sight of 3 hungry bears. Quick as a whip, she scrambled through the open window and ran home. But she soon returned with a letter, a new chair, and fresh oats. The bears accepted her apology, and they all became the best of friends. Tup's Tunnel Up. Deep down in the forest floor lived a little mole named Tup. Tup loved digging, but more than that, he loved wondering. "What is out there?" he often whispered to the quiet earth. Tup's tunnels went left, they went right, they went up, and they went down. He was the best digger in the whole forest, but one day he started a tunnel that went a new way, straight up. The dirt is getting softer. The air is getting sweeter. Tup could smell flowers he had never known before. Scratch, scratch, scrape. He was nearly there. Pop! Tup popped out into a bright, sunny meadow. Everything was huge and bright. A giant yellow dome hung in the sky. Tup was amazed. A gentle hum-hum-hum floated past his ear. Tup's whiskers twitched. It was the biggest, stripiest, buzziest bee he had ever seen. The bee was busy zipping from flower to flower. Tup tried to follow the bee, but the bright light made him dizzy. He bumped right into something big and furry. "Oh, my whiskers!" squeaked Tup, tumbling backwards. "Well, hello there, little fellow," said a deep, slow voice. It was Brock, the wisest badger in the meadow. "It looks like you've tumbled out of bed." Tup told Brock all about his big adventure and the stripy, humming creature. "Ah, that's a honeybee, Tup," said Brock. "And you, my friend, have discovered the above-ground place." "Is the honeybee the most wonderful thing in the above-ground place?" asked Tup. Brock chuckled. "The most wonderful thing is coming home to tell someone about your adventure." Brock showed Tup the spot where his tunnel was, a tiny molehill next to a big oak tree. "When you're ready, Tup, the earth will welcome you back." Tup took one last sniff of the sweet, flower-filled air. Then he wiggled his nose, dove back into his tunnel, and slid all the way home. Tup curled up in his cozy burrow. He wasn't wondering anymore. He was remembering. And he knew tomorrow there would be a whole new direction for his tunnel to go.
In the charming town of Sweetwater, where the air itself smelled of warm cinnamon, lived a young girl named Pippa. She dreamt of baking perfect pastries, but her Aunt Brittle made her scrub sticky floors and wash mountain-high piles of dusty flour sacks all day long. Aunt Brittle, along with her two selfish children, Crumble and Spoon, cared only for themselves. Pippa, more polishing. They'd sneer, never lifting a finger. They were busy preparing for the biggest event of the year, the legendary Golden Rolling Pin Contest. While the others loudly and badly practiced their terrible recipes, Pippa would sneak away late at night when the house was quiet. She would use the leftover scraps and whispered her sweetest dreams into the mixing bowl, creating a perfect, impossibly light pastry she called a starlight soufflé. On the morning of the contest, with a wicked gleam in her eye, Aunt Brittle snatched Pippa's precious ingredients. "A kitchen maid has no business competing," she hissed, and with a heavy thud, she locked Pippa in the dark, dusty pantry with nothing but old jars of forgotten spices. Pippa didn't cry. She took a deep breath and looked toward the back wall. There, taped up and forgotten, was a torn cookbook page, her late mother's secret recipe for the starlight soufflé. It was faded, but one line stood out. "The key is passion." Her fingers searched, and she found a spare, rusty key hidden deep inside a jar of old, dried lavender. Pippa knew she couldn't bake and submit the full dish in time, but she could deliver the written recipe before the deadline, showing her intention. Clutching the paper, she raced through the cobbled streets. Just as she reached the towering grand hall, a sudden, spiteful gust of wind tore the precious recipe page from her hand. It spun and tumbled through the air, landing perfectly right at the polished leather boots of the chief judge, the legendary Chef Auguste. Chef Auguste carefully examined the elegant, precise handwriting and the perfect measurements. "This," she announced, her voice echoing through the silent crowd, "is a masterpiece of composition, even on paper. It has grace and balance. Whose is this recipe for the starlight soufflé?" Aunt Brittle elbowed her way forward, ready to claim the recipe for herself. But Pippa bravely stepped out from the crowd, her voice trembling slightly but clear as a bell. "It is mine, Chef. My mother's recipe. I made one last night, and I can certainly make it again for you now." Chef Auguste gave a genuine, heartwarming smile. "It takes courage to follow your passion, Pippa. You have won the Golden Rolling Pin, not just for the beautiful recipe, but for your brave heart." And from that day on, Pippa finally baked with pure joy, and the town of Sweetwater truly became the sweetest place on earth.